how are you? This is Pastor Cheryl. I've been gone for a couple of days. I was in the hospital. It was a surprise. And I most normally am not in the hospital, and this is something that just most normally doesn't happen to me. But they told me I had sepsis, or I was septic. They call it sepsis, and so they said we're going to have to keep you. And I just felt kind of dizzy and out of it and couldn't quite figure out what was wrong. It was an infection. It was just an infection. And so anyway, we were doing this Bible study, going through, if you remember, the Synoptic Gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke. And we are down here at the temptation. And we've got Matthew, Mark, and Luke. And then it kind of skips on over, and then we just have Matthew and Luke. And here, only one comment by Mark. Interesting. Here it says, I'm going to try to read it to you. Then Jesus was led up by the Spirit into the wilderness. Then there's a gap. You see the gap? And tempted by the devil, but fasted 40 days and 40 nights. And afterward he was hungry. This one says the Spirit immediately drove him into the wilderness, and he was 40 days tempted by Satan. It didn't say nights, it just said days. And then was with the wild beasts. Now, do you see the difference between these two? I do. It's a different perspective. And here, Luke, and Jesus, full of the Holy Spirit, returned from the Jordan and was led by the Spirit 40 days in the wilderness, tempted by the devil. And he ate nothing but those in those days, and when they ended, he was hungry. Okay, we can see the big difference between Matthew, Mark, and Luke. It seems to me that Luke has got a lot more detail. Then we go up here. And the tempter came to him. If you notice a big difference between these two, there's gaps. Some have, this is Matthew, Mark, and then Luke. And the tempter came and said to him, "You are the Son of God. Command these stones to become your loaves of bread." And he answered to him, "It is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but every word that proceeds from the mouth of God." Then the devil took him to the holy place. I don't know if you could see this or not. And set him on the pinnacle of the temple, and said to him, "If you are the Son of God, throw yourself down, for it is written, he will give his angels charge over you. On their hands they will bear you up, lest you strike your foot against a stone." It says, it looks like Psalms 95, 7-8. It's repeated. And Jesus said to him again, "It is written, you shall not tempt your Lord your God," which is Ezekiel 17:17. Again the devil took him to a very high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and the glory of them. And he said to him, "And these things I will give you, if you fall down and worship me." And Jesus said to him, "Begone, Satan, for it is written, you shall worship the Lord your God, him only, and shall you serve." which is Deuteronomy 6:13. Now, and it kind of, there's a gap here. There's a really big gap. See this big space? And the rest is filled in by someone else, Matthew, Mark, and Luke. And then it continues on down here. So we will back up here to this other. And then the devil took him and showed him all the kingdoms of the world in a moment of time, and said to him, to you I will give you all this authority and their glory, for it has been delivered to me, and I give it to whom I will. If you then will worship me, it shall be yours. And Jesus answered to him, it is written, you shall worship the Lord your God, to him and only shall you serve. And then he took him to Jerusalem and set him on the pinnacle of the temple. Same story, right? And you are the Son of God, throw yourself down from here. It is written, he will give you angels charge over you, to guard you, and on their hands they will bear you up, lest you strike your foot against a stone. And Jesus answered to him, it is said, you shall not tempt the Lord your God. And it goes down, it gets kind of narrow down here. I don't know why it's getting narrow. And then when the devil ended this every temptation, he departed from him until an opportune time. That's kind of the way he is. He's a little sneaky, and he's looking for, it doesn't work out today, but we'll try it tomorrow sort of attitude. But this one here ends with, and the devil left him, behold, angels came and ministered to him. They ministered to him. And then in the middle, Matthew, Mark, this is Mark, and the angels came and ministered to him. That's all Mark had to say. That's it. That's all Mark had to say. Now we have to think about, let's see, we're touching on a couple different subjects here. The concept of worship. We really don't have that here in the United States. I think that was a Mideastern concept. You see it, in cartoons when we were children. And you see pictures. They bow down, okay? So, bologna, salami, bologna. And we all laughed and we went, yeah, right, And then you see people in foreign countries bowing down to a Buddha or some other god or goddess statue. And you're like, what's all that about? And recently they took a statue, and it was called a living Buddha. It wasn't living, there was a dead person inside the statue. That someone had meditated so long and in such a way that he just passed away. And they put him in the statue. This little man. And it was like 700 years ago. And so they revere this statue with this dead person inside of it. And we have lost our concept of worship. And so to us, worship is singing. We call that worship today. Oh yeah, we call it worship. You're going to worship. Well, singing. And that is our concept now. This is what we do. And this is kind of the American way. I mean, my family, I have relatives that have been ministers, clergy people in the Methodist Church for generations. We're circuit riders. And that's mainly, I mean, when I think of the Old West and how we got here and what our family has contributed to the United States. And that's other than each generation having, young men in the military, we have had clergy people. That's kind of God's military. We have clergy people in our family. And this has been a repeated thing that goes down through the centuries. And this is who we are. But mainly here in America, worship is pretty much singing. And so to us, this is bow down and worship me. You're like, because we're going to think about those cartoons from when we were a kid, and we don't have a concept of worship here, except we love to sing. American Christians love to sing. They love their songs. So anyway, this is something to think about. What is worship to you? Is it singing? Is it joy, peace, just love? Just love God, just love Him. I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.